doing good, Lionel. How are you guys doing today? Hey,
Pretty good. Good. Can you hear us?
I can hear you good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Sweet.
So, how was your day so far?
Oh man, getting over being sick over on this end, but otherwise doing pretty all right, man.
Yeah,
So,
That was
we've
great.
we've been busy. A lot of things happening all at once. You know, once an
Yeah.
album gets made, they're just ready to do.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, guys, your fourth full-length album, No Signal, is to be out on January 12th. So, would you guys like to tell me a bit about the songwriting process and the production behind this new album?
Yeah, for sure. I guess being in the I started writing this album back in like 2020 because lockdowns and had nothing else better to do but to write a crap load of songs. So I did write about a lot about in the being in the lockdown, like being away from family and friends and stuff like that. And so like I would say half of the album is about that, but without adding, any like at the keywords like pandemic or lockdown because I find that too cheesy. So I just kind of like having the audience kind of interpret the song like in their own way.
Mhm.
And yeah, just first I would like to obviously we live together. So I had so I'll come up with a riff, and if I can't exactly like the great thing with Jacob is that he's really good with I guess like playing with vibes and like if I had a certain idea, really don't know how to like attack a verse a certain way, then he'll be like, oh, try this, and I'm like, oh, so it's great. And then Alex would show up to the jam, and then next thing you know, boom, we have a song.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes from not just one person. There's songs that basically either just one of us wrote or like even two of us, and then there's songs that all of us contributed on because the way that I like to structure it is like say for example I have a melody that I really like. My forte obviously would be bass and then a little bit of vocals, but like I know nothing about lead guitar, couldn't tell you darn thing about it. So having Zach to bounce that off of and then to have Alex bring his expertise into like drumming and stuff like that. And then even Lionel bringing his own ideas in, like a lot of this has been um, quite a bit of a mismatch, a mixed match of all of our talents put together towards this whole album. And so I think it's been one of the most uh, group focused writings we've ever had to be put into one physical thing. You know what I mean?
Fantastic. Fantastic. And is there some kind of a concept or a theme that goes behind No Signal?
I Yeah, so I want for the first half of the album, I want it to be like a nightmare, just a nightmare you couldn't wake up from. And then once we hit the song, I would say realignment. That's when you're just kind of like waking up from the nightmare, and things are getting a little bit more uplifting, and then there's hope at the end of the tunnel. And that's how I kind of wanted to portray the album. Rather it just being the entire thing doom and gloom, I wanted there to be a little bit of uplifting, presence near the end of the album.
Fantastic, fantastic. And talking about the cover art, is there a theme behind this cover art, and what was the work behind it, and who really made this cover art for you guys?
So we have a couple artists on this. The one that did the cover art specifically is an artist. What was his name?
Hippie.
Hippie. Yeah. I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry. But yeah, Kippy is the person who did the main covers for and we have a gentleman by the name of Mark. He is the one that did all the pages on the inside and then the text formatting and all that stuff. We really wanted to focus on getting not so much just like local, but people who are not super out there and super onto the scene. Being a smaller band ourselves, trying to make our way through it, I've always really personally, and I know the boys agree that it's not just the music scene that needs to lift itself up. Art as an entirety should be working with each other. You know what I mean? So having two artists that I would say aren't necessarily super into the mainstream, but on their way up as well, was really important to us. And they did a bang up job, absolutely fantastic.
Exactly. And I
Could
feel
not
like,
be happy with it.
and I feel
But
like so much of this entire project has been about just the community around it. I mean, it's like, as far as like the actual funding for the album and everything like this, everything about this band has been about the community we've had and the friends that we've built because of it. So again, I think that really kind of permeates through all aspects of it, whereas whether it be the artwork or whether, again, even just general funding for the album, or however, we take a lot of inspiration just from the community that we've managed to kind of have around us and really kind of build with this crazy project that we have. So, which is really, really cool.
mhm.
Interesting. And talking about the album 14, mind-blowing hard rocking songs, beautifully done, great songwriting, and had a classic hard rock touch with your own touch of Zephyr inside of it, and a totally outstanding album with a lot of guitar that has played a major part in this album. So I want to thank you guys so much for putting up an amazing album early in
Well,
January.
thanks so much, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. And as a band, how do you guys feel about the outcome of this new album, No Signal?
I'm very proud of it. Usually, for the previous albums, I was the main songwriter, but for the first time, we all got together and like Alex wrote two songs, and we kind of did, it's almost half and half really, and
Yeah.
it takes a lot of weight off my shoulders, and I just felt like um I as a songwriter always felt like Jacob was always up here and I was just down here, and I think we finally just meshed and just like worked out, and I think we're just all collectively in the same mindset.
Yeah, I think the big thing about this album too is that we all pushed ourselves to our like very limits and then beyond to improve, not just as musicians, but just as like a group together. One of the big things that really stuck out to me for this album is not just the individual technicality of it, but how it all meshes together. I think this group of people have really come together and created something that's not necessarily just for one thing to stand out, but for everybody to have the ability to show themselves, show their ability, but show them within the group and really make something that is one giant like amalgamation of absolute like talent, essentially. If I, for lack of better words, I think this really showed not just how good we are at songwriting, but how capable we are of performing it together as a group. And I think that's probably one of our strongest suits now that we've really pushed this album out.
Interesting. And the album is almost a month away from now. And any big plans for you guys on the day of the release?
Uh,
Yeah, we do. We got our album release show coming up here in Toronto. It's at the Rockpile, and we got three killer bands on there. We have a band called Second Pass, and we got a great band called Nerfcast, and we got a band called Queens and Kings. They're all going to be joining us for this show, and we're also working on some more out of town gigs. We're working on like a one gig in particular that's in the works right now. We're just reaching out to some bands. I don't know if I should like say much about it right now, but it'll be our first out of town gig since 2020, but it'll be our first time playing this city since like 2019. So
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
like for we're working our way on trying to get more towards out east here, but maybe out as far as like Halifax. We want to hit Montreal and Quebec City and some other Ontario cities as well. But we're also working on trying to make our way out to the West Coast as well, because I have some connections out there. So I'll see what I can set us up with for out west.
absolutely.
And hopefully during the summer, we're looking at I guess the closest American city to us would be Buffalo, and then hopefully Detroit next.
Yeah.
After that.
And also, just real quick, that show is not exactly on the 12th. It is on the 19th. It's better to have it on, the weekend, enjoy yourself a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as it goes, that is definitely the immediate thing that we're going to be doing. And then obviously, going forward with that, we would like to, really push out the album, and really, I would like to do a little bit of, not necessarily behind the scenes, but some other content that I think people are going to really enjoy just on the social medias. So got to look out for that.
Fantastic. And come 2024, any big international touring plans apart from Canada and North American touring?
Oh gosh,
Um,
We love to, we love to see at some point. I don't know about 24, but you never know what's going to happen. But we love to see if we can probably at some point maybe make our way over to the UK and Europe, or maybe even South America. Because that's like pretty much every performer's dream come true. To like go other places in the world. And I know we have some people over in Europe that have bought our merch before and are listening to us. So shout out to all our European friends out there, and all in the rest of the world who may be listening. So we we hope at some point to maybe make it overseas and see you all. But until then, just enjoy the new tunes, and we're working on it. We're working on
maybe
it.
we'll
Never,
play
never say
Vodka.
never.
Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
yeah,
Fingers crossed.
yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Play Vakken.
Yeah. I think the thing too is we really do want to get out just beyond North America, obviously, because we do have a strangely large following in like places like Italy and
Yeah,
Germany,
in Sweden,
and
we have a
Sweden.
lot of
And you know
listeners
what?
there on Spotify.
I would be more than happy to be going out there. I think right now, just because of let's be honest, how expensive things are, we might have to hold back on that a little bit, but we are not forgetting those places we absolutely would like to go. So if the opportunity arises, we would absolutely go out there without even thinking about it.
For me in particular, like I'd love to go play like especially the UK and Germany, because a lot of my favorite bands, especially in Germany, like with Wacken Open Air, being there, like I grew up on I'm a big fan of bands like Creator, the Big Teutonic Four, Destruction, Sodom, and even like the Swedish death metal. That's all my influences. So like for me to go to any one of those places, with the UK, Sabbath, Maiden, Priest, and all those bands that we love, plus other ones. Onslaught from the UK is another one of my favorite bands. So it'd be a dream to go over to the UK, the home of metal. So
yeah, there you go.
Amazing.
for sure.
And so speaking about the merchandise plans for No Signal, do you have something special made out for the fans?
Oh yes.
We have a couple
we
of
do have
a couple shirts. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a shirt we're going to make specifically for the CD release party. It's I'm just in the works of talking to the manufacturers right now, so we'll have that by I would say early January.
Early January, yeah. And we have a couple of other things that we are kind of trying to feel out right now. I think the big thing that we really want to work towards is more of a merch presence, obviously. I think that's something that a lot of bands are working towards, and we want to be right there. The great thing about making all these local connections and connecting with all these artists is that a lot of them have some insane talent, and they put out some unbelievable products. And we absolutely love working with them because they do amazing work. So anytime we have the opportunity to incorporate that, not just into like our music, but our merch as well, we'll be right there, because I mean, let's be honest, 3 out of the 4 people here right now are probably wearing something merch related. So yeah, there you go. So being able to connect to your fans like that is something that we definitely are looking in towards, and we've got some really exciting stuff coming in.
Yeah.
And Xephyr has a long history of 13 years in the making. And how has this journey been for you guys?
It's been interesting. It started off with me not knowing what I was doing, and then once I met Zach and Jacob, I'm just like, okay, like because before we were more so like along the lines of like grunge alternative rock, but then like enter Zach and Jacob, and then that's when things got a lot heavier. And a lot of the stuff I was listening to was a lot heavier as well. So it just kind of ended up gearing towards that direction.
Yeah.
And then once Alex joined, who's got more of a professional touch, he kicked our asses in gear and started taking the band more seriously rather than just being like a fun hobby on the weekends. So it's
Yeah.
now it's gotten serious.
Yeah. And 13 years is a long time. I've been here since what, 2016?
Yeah.
2016. So that's almost 8 years at this point for me. Like he started the band when I was 14. I had no idea what any of this stuff was. So, it's weird being the youngest member of the band. But yeah, like just watching our style like evolve over time, not just with like the music that's out there right now, but just with our own tastes. Because you never, when you have a band or a group that plays for this long, the music is going to change a little bit. And I think the really nice thing about this album is it highlights not just all the stuff that we're doing right now, but some of the stuff that we did before and incorporating it into our newer tastes today. I think it's really important that bands that are especially trying to get on the scene don't just necessarily pigeonhole themselves into one genre, and really branch out and really experiment with their tastes. And again, 13 years of time, and not just the 13 years for us, but like the years and years and years of listening to music between all spectrums of music, I think is really, you can really track the development through all that time. And it's crazy. I had no idea that it was 13 years. That's freaky. How old are you?
700.
That tracks.
And it's weird because it's kind of funny because I first met Lionel in 2011 through an old friend of mine that one of the band's past bassists, Dennis. I actually went to high school with him, and that's how I got to meet Lionel. We met at the first Heavy TO festival right before Slayer went on, and we exchanged like Facebook friends, and I was keeping up with what they were doing with the band and all that. But I don't think Lionel and I ever exchanged messages since then. And then come 2019, I had already built up a little bit of experience of playing live in bands. And when I saw that there was an opening for a drummer in Xephyr, and I recognized the name, and I hit Lionel up and thought it'd be a great opportunity to reconnect with him. And he sent me, I asked, can I try out? And he's like, yeah, come on down. And he sent me 4 songs to learn, and I learned them, and I did something right because I'm still here. And ever since then, at the time, the band's previous album had just come out when I joined. So we had a great time getting to know each other on a playing level, and also on a personal level as well. And I had a lot of fun on those early shows with the guys. And we were a trio at the time because Zach had to leave the band for a little bit because he moved out of the city. But come the pandemic in 2021, that's when Zach moved back here, and then he came back to the band, and it made the band as it is right now. So, and as Jacob was saying, with our tastes and all that, we're all like rockers and metalheads at heart, but at the same time, myself, like thrash metal, those are my roots, but I'm also really into jazz, and I love to blues, and because I'm a teacher as well, it's important to have that wide scope, and you never know where you're going to draw inspiration from. So I try to bring a little bit of jazz influence into metal playing as well. So it highlights all our influences, as Jacob said.
I still can't get over the fact that it's been 13 years. Alex, it feels like you've been here for 47 years. I don't even know what.
Yeah, next year in 24, it'll be 5 years for me.
And I'll be the ripe old age of 106. That's how it feels with the pandemic, man. That's just how it went.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been 100 years.
Zach, anything you want to add?
No, I mean, you pretty much covered it. I mean, you got my whole backstory, so
there you go. Yeah.
Don't you ever leave again.
Yeah. Please. I can't do leads, God.
Same.
Yeah.
Yes. And earlier you released this year you released your first single Realignment, and a week back you also released the music video for Remember. So would you like to tell me a bit about the making of this video and about these songs in particular?
And you want to do the video, I do the song, since it's a kind of a
Remember?
yeah. So if you want to do Remember, and I'll do Realignment, 'cause
Okay.
that's my craziness.
So we kind of I kind of wanted to kind of like how can I describe it? So for the first music video that we recorded, shot in the head, I wanted to have a piece of that going into Remember. So in like during the protest scene of shot in the head, Jacob was wearing like the same getup, like the huge jacket and the gas mask and stuff like that, and I just kind of wanted to show it was kind of like the aftermath, like a post-apocalyptic kind of thing. He's just going into this empty subway, and Remember is just kind of like this. It's just more so about a start of an adventure, something different, going out of your comfort zone, and it's our first time filming in a subway like this, so it was really exciting. Apparently, it is haunted because they haven't used this subway since the 1960s, so it was eerie, but it kind of fit the theme of the music video.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
And
And
Yeah,
for
and they filmed a lot of they use that subway to film a lot of movies. Like they filmed Suicide Squad and Shazam on that platform that we played on. So that was pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool location. And in terms of Realignment, my music writing is kind of chaotic. I think that's the best way to put it. So I had really gotten into a lot of the off time kind of sounding music. I think the specific band at the time was the Contortionist, which Zach showed me. Zach shows me all these crazy bands and then curses me with the desire to write things but have no ability to know how to do so. So I'll spend like a year just with a riff and stuff like that. And that's how Realignment ended up being. I like putting I would say open-ended storylines in my music. Realignment flows into the next song, and the reason why it does it is it's almost telling a story about somebody who pushes the world away because they felt like they didn't belong, when in reality the only person that thought they didn't belong was themselves. So it's almost like a very introspective kind of thing, and you're realigning yourself to start over. You know what I mean? So that's the lyrical aspect. The technical aspect, usually I'll have an idea of what I want in terms of how I want the song to flow and the structure. This one was just straight up, I sat on my guitar for 2 hours and noodled until it worked. So, so sometimes that's what you need. But honestly, it's one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. I love I kind of wanted to have something where it felt like it was off time, but it was still on time, if that makes any sense, because it does go back and forth with the timing quite a bit, but it doesn't feel like it's completely out of place. You know what I mean? And then there was a lot of my influence in terms of I was a punker growing up. My two favorite bands were Green Day and Rise Against. That was me from, I don't know, 11 to 17, and so. It's always in there. There's always a little bit of an element to that. So again, going back to the theme earlier of bringing all of our inspirations together to amalgamate into one thing, this was really something that rings true with especially Realignment. And I think that's what makes it such a crazy song and why it's a lot of fun and really hard to play. And I can't believe I wrote that for myself and now got to play it live. So
that's what I find about a lot of your songwriting, and I guess now kind of in terms of the songwriting of the band as a whole. It's because Lionel, I mean, you came at it from sort of like a very rudimentary sort of like grunge background. Jacob, you've got a very like punk background kind of thing. But we're all interested in such technical music too.
yeah.
So it's like I always called like your writing basically like prog punk, because it's like
Yeah,
something like
that's a good way to put it.
or even like Callahan, where it's like, which is kind of the song that it flows right into afterwards. It's just like this monolith of a track with just so many layers and just so much going on, but it has this very like straightforward punk sensibility to it as well, which
Yeah.
I think is something that we've really highlighted, and something that's really, really like a real huge highlight on this album is just the fact that our writing is starting to get so much more concise into what it is
Yeah.
and to us as an overall sound, which I think is
Mhm.
really, really important for a band to kind of, establish, especially at this stage where we're on album 4,
Yeah.
so
Better late than never.
And as Zach was saying, the beauty about this band is that every one of us is a songwriter. We all bring songs, individual songs to the table, and like whether Lionel writes one song, Jacob writes another, or I write a song, or even Zach. We all bring the skeleton in, and then we all put our own stamp on it. We all arrange it, and it's a wide range of tastes, and that's the beauty. And we've gotten, you can hear the progression. Like if you go back and listen to the band's first album, Shed and the Vicious Instinct, you can hear like the clear evolution of how the band have progressed, particularly Lionel. And from album 1 to now, it's almost like a big jump
Yeah.
in the progressions. So, and seeing how much these guys have progressed ever since like the last album. Even, I mean, they were already in a great place as writers and players when I joined, but to see them like elevate this much, it makes me like so proud to be in this band, because that's what I
Thanks,
strive
Dad.
for. I strive to be like around people who you know are like craftsmen. They take their craft seriously and are always into you know progressing and moving forward, and always bettering yourself.
Thanks, Dad.
Fantastic. And any plans to come up with another music video before the release of the album on Jan 12th?
We got
I
we got a second single that will be released just before the album drops. I guess I can reveal it. We're going to be releasing a lyric video, just because of the time constraints that we have and the budgets that we have right now. We'll be releasing a lyric video for The Desperation, which is another song that Jacob wrote, and that one kind of like embodies the like the big scope of what we are at the moment. It's melodic, it's rocky, it's punky, it's heavy, it's metal. So it's kind of like everything within like 3.5 minutes. So
Mm.
that's a really good like representative song, and it's got a really catchy chorus. Jacob sounds fantastic on it, and we all
Oh, thank you.
sing on it. You hear like the choir-esque vocals in the background in the verse. That's all of us, like our voices together.
Yeah.
So that one, and like we got like a few selection of songs for the next music videos that we want to do. We're definitely going to be, I think the next video we're going to be doing that we talked about is for I'm Here for Blood, which is one of my songs, and that one's going to be a little more, I don't want to reveal too much, but a little more straightforward compared to like Remember and the other ones that we did so far.
Yeah.
So
And then obviously, going forward, we definitely want to put a lot more of a video aspect, or even just a visual aspect in general, to our music, because again, as things get more and more digital and people get more and more hooked on these things, it'll be good to have multiple sources of media and almost like a dual level of entertainment value. And then on top of that, we get to work with some really great local people who know their craft. I just wanted to make a quick shout out to who did our music video for Remember. I can never forget I can never remember them, which is
Images
hilarious.
Media Inc.
Thank you. Big shout out to them. They're an absolute joy to work with, a bunch of real great professionals. They have a fantastic eye for this kind of stuff. And, any excuse we get to work with people like that in the future, we're definitely going to take. So definitely something to look forward to as well. We love putting out media for you guys, and we hope that you like it.
Fantastic, fantastic. And what would be the big dream as a band together?
sorry.
What would be the big dream as a band together?
Well, I would say, hopefully getting a management deal and just seeing the world, and just
Yeah.
I've never really left the continent before, so I would love to go see Europe, South America, just the entire world.
Anywhere, yeah.
Like the entire world,
Yeah.
even Antarctica.
Honestly, just being able to do this for a living, being able to live
Yeah,
comfortably and do it with your best friends is,
absolutely.
is kind of the dream, right? Like I really can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing than,
Yeah,
even now it's just like whenever we're trying to figure out, oh, when are we going to rehearse next? I'm like I'm always so stoked cuz I'm like I get to fucking play music with my best pals, So
yeah,
it's just like being able to actually travel and just live the dream with your best pals. It's just like
yeah,
that's why we do it, right?
yeah.
So
And then obviously, as we're growing, having the ability to reach out and play for people just all over the world, just it sounds so ridiculous when you think about it and when you say it out loud, and then to even dream about being able to do that, and not just being able to do that, but being able to do it comfortably. I think every musician's dream is to go out there and play for as many people as possible, as many places as possible. And I don't think that's different for us. Um, but I think, especially with how our band has been going and how, quite frankly, unique our music has become, I think one of the biggest things for me is being able to showcase that kind of expression, that a bunch of people from different walks of musical life can come together and make something that kicks ass, really. And being able to share that with people around the world would be really, really, really cool. Yeah,
Absolutely. I,
Just
I
playing
I'm
on.
I'm the same way with what Zach said. As far as the dream goes, to be able to do this, we obviously want to get to a point where we can live comfortably doing this for a living. Obviously we live in a time where making money with music is rather difficult. But if we're able to like get to a point where we can like just live comfortably, and the fact that I get to do this with three guys that I consider my brothers right now, and you can't. There's nothing better in the world. I wouldn't trade anything in the world for it, and that's just the biggest gift in the world as a musician.
100%.
Yep.
Awesome. And finally, any message that you have for the fans around the world?
Yeah. It's
Uh,
just,
Alex, why don't you go first?
yeah.
We'll go right to left here on our screens.
all right. So to everybody watching the Metalheads Forever podcast, we just want to say thank you so much for watching this interview, and we really hope you enjoy the new album when it comes out January 12th. No Signal, and we thank you all for your support from the bottom of our hearts, and we hope to see you on stage, whether it be somewhere local or around Canada, the U.S., Mexico, or if we can make it outside of North America to Europe or anywhere else. We'd love to see you. Thank you all.
Yes, fantastic. And Lionel, Jacob, Zach, and Alex, I want to thank you all so much for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to have you guys on the show, and a real pleasure to meet you all. And thanks for the musical awesomeness over the years, and for the upcoming release, No Signal on Jan 12, a fantastic album, as I said earlier. Awesome work from you guys. So I want to thank you, all of you, for this great work again. And I wish you all the best, and really hoping to see you guys on the road.
Oh,
thanks
Thank
thanks,
so
you.
guys.
much.
Thank
Like,
you.
Much.
thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
us. Like, it was
Thank you
great
so
being on
much.
this.
It was a lot of
Thank,
fun.
thank you. Have a great evening and take care of yourself.
Thank
You
thank
as well.
you.
You
Thank
too,
you,
guys.
Keith.
Rock on.
See ya.
Yeah.